I was struggling. I was in a really bad place.
I found out that I wasn't legally married.
My feelings had died out and I was just suffering in that relationship.
Islamically, he already gave me the 3 talaqs.
I was desperate to get divorced, so Jav's helped us out a lot.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of Marriage Matters with me, your host, Javaid Iqbal. Now, last week we had a guest on the show, Hana Lush. This has created a little bit of a stir amongst the viewers and also online in terms of some people saying that we should not have had her on the show. Some people are saying we should have had her on the show. Now, here's the thing. Now, when we started this series 9-10 weeks ago, very first thing I practically said to you guys, the viewers, was very simple, is we're going to have people on the show who are going to talk about real life things. Yeah, we're not here to sugarcoat. We're not here, just for the sake of it, for talking head. This is the things that we want to talk about. These are the things that real people want to hear, real stories, what's actually happening out there, what real people are going through. Now, Hannah's story, although obviously it was, we had to cut because of technical errors, which we managed to fix this week. It was an interesting story. She's obviously been through a lot. She is going through a lot. And I think it needs to be heard. Now, everything that you hear and everything that you see on this show, you don't have to necessarily agree with it. We're not asking you to agree. What we're asking you to do is just listen. You try to understand where the other person's coming from. They've got a story to tell. We're not saying that you have to agree with the story. We're not saying you have to accept it and say, oh, that's good or that's bad. We're not here to judge. We're here to say this is what's going on out there. This is society. Now, if as human beings, let's start from right at the top. As human beings, if we can't even listen to each other, we're not going to understand each other. If we don't understand each other, we're not going to learn to get on. We're not going to learn to come together. And what does that say about us, A, as human beings, and B, as Muslims? We can't judge so harshly and we can't judge so quickly to go, oh, no, this person is good and this person is bad and we should have this person's story on the show and we're not going to have that person's story. No, everybody deserves a fair crack of the whip. Everybody goes through what they go through. Circumstances can dictate life. And it's an interesting story. It's a real story. And we want to listen to it. Having said that, we are back. And I'm pleased to say we've got Hana back on the show. Hana, thank you very much for joining us.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you doing? You okay?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. Thank you for coming back on the show. Apologies again for last week. Technical errors, as you probably know, we had to sort of cut it short. But I'm glad and I'm grateful that you have decided to sort of come back and share your story, share your thoughts, etc., on a variety of subjects that we're going to discuss over the next hour. Now, last week when we broke off the show, you were discussing, obviously, that you'd got divorced. Your ex-husband had accused you of certain things. He'd made allegations, but he believed them, and that was it. You didn't have a right to reply. You didn't have a right to defend yourself. So just continuing on from there, how did the divorce affect you? I mean, you're sort of married. Suddenly you've got this bombshell. Husband says, boom, not happening. I believe whatever I want to believe. I'm not going to give you a right to reply. I'm not going to give you a recourse. You're divorced. What impact did that have on you, your family, and how you thought about life, relationships moving forward, what you thought you were going to do in the future?
It was a really tough decision because at that time my kids were very young. And what he accused me of really did hurt me. I just broke down and I thought to myself, there's no communication there. There's no trust there. Is there any point me continuing with this marriage? And it was a tough decision. Back then, I was on maternity leave. I didn't have enough money, but alhamdulillah, everything's set in place. Some of my family members were against it. Some were on my side, but then overall it was my decision, and I decided that I no longer want to remain in the marriage and I want to go separate ways.
Right. And
now, yeah.
At any point, were you pressurized into reconciling? And I know that sometimes happens within our communities where people say, oh no, what is society going to think? What are people going to think? What are relatives going to think? You need to stay within this marriage or you need to give it a go. Was there any pressure internally or externally in terms of the wider community to sort of reconcile or to make a go of it?
Of course there was. There always is. But then I had made up my mind that I don't want to remain in it. I can't. any relationship is made of trust. It's made out of trust. If there's no trust there, is there any point you dragging it along?
It's broken.
It's broken, yeah. So I decided we're going to go separate ways. Now, it affected my son quite a bit. He used to wake up at night crying, I want my dad, I want my dad. My daughter was very young then. She's never, ever known how it feels to have a father figure there. She wasn't even walking when we went separate ways. She was about 9 months. But it affected my son a lot. Sometimes I used to sit there thinking, gosh, have I made the right decision? And I thought, I have. So, yeah.
Did you ever think about staying in the marriage, which a lot of people do just for the sake of the children? Just like you said, so you didn't have to look at your children's face or your son's face where he is asking for dad. Because one thing, obviously, we have to remember is that the husband and wife dynamics or relationship is completely independent and it's completely different from what a father or mother has with their children. You know, they're two different relationships, two different strands, and they can take on different forms. You don't necessarily have to be a good husband to be a good father. You can be a good father but be a bad husband. So, I mean, did any of that weigh on your mind when you were thinking of, well, you know, I'm calling it a day? Do you think, shall I just stay with him for the sake of the children and just try to make this marriage work?
Thoughts used to come in my mind. I used to think, should I or should I not? But then, if I'm not happy, is there any point me going there again? So I decided that I'm not going to go back there. I decided for my own happiness, for my own peace of mind, I'm going to go separate ways. Kids get used to it. He wasn't a good husband, but he is a good father. He's always been a good father to his kids.
Good to hear that. Good to hear that.
Yeah. So that's the main thing. He's in touch with the kids. He sees them twice a week. He supports whenever needed. Whenever my son needs anything, he doesn't ask me. Sometimes he goes to him. I get parcels through the door. Oh, I didn't order anything. Mum, I did. I ordered it. You know, sorry, I forgot to tell you. So I'm not going to knock him back on that. He is a good father. He's good to the children.
And it's good for the children. It's good for the children to have two loving parents, albeit separate, which is fine. You know, they're two individuals who equally love and want what is best for the children. And that's the most important thing here. So albeit your marriage to him didn't work out, like you said, there's no reason why you can't be a good father to the children. And that's the most important thing. Now, obviously, so after you got divorced, you've got two children. How did you manage? How did life change for you? You know, what did you do in the initial years?
It was a struggle. I went back to work. I put my daughter in nursery. She was in nursery at 9 months. That was really heartbreaking for me. At that time, obviously, as a single parent, I didn't quite understand how things work with private nursery. And honestly, I was actually, it was like me paying a double mortgage.
They're not cheap.
It's not cheap. I was paying a double mortgage and so. And then I realised a few months down the line that as a single parent, you do get something towards childcare. And I thought, great, why didn't anyone tell me that before? So it became easy. I got used to it. It's just, you know, time's a healer. You just get used to it, don't you? And I just got used to it.
Did you find, which I think a lot of my clients obviously tell me quite often, what they find is because the children are so young, like you just alluded to the fact that your daughter was 9 months old, because they don't have that concept or understanding, it makes it easy for them to come to terms with the fact that obviously if they had been a lot older, they'd been, let's say, 9, 10, 11, they'd have seen in their formative years, mum and dad together, doing things together, living together. They would miss that sort of dynamic. But obviously having your daughter, obviously being 9 months, growing up, she's not seen mum and dad together. So she doesn't know, she's not missed it. So do you find that is sometimes easier?
With my daughter, it was definitely easier. With my son, it wasn't easier because he was a little bit older. I had to sit down and explain to him that your dad's not coming back, which was really, really hard for me to do. when we were divorced, the hardest part was when my son did once mention, Mum, can you just get back together with Dad? And I looked at him and I thought, has someone been talking to you?
Yeah, but Hannah, what we have to remember is these are children. They don't have a concept of adult conversations. They don't have a concept of adult issues. He's not privy to what's obviously gone on between you and his dad. So all he wants, like most children do, we've seen it a million times, is they just want mum and dad. That's all they want. They're not capable of understanding that, hang on a minute, you know, there's a conflict between mum and dad, or something's happened. They're just like, I love mummy, I love daddy, I want them both to be together, and I want them both together in my life. So it's not unheard of. That I don't think that was what he said was probably quite normal for a child his age, having gone through what he's gone through.
Yeah, it did make me smile. And one of the questions he did ask me, which I'm sure you're going to ask me, is, Mum, are you ever going to get married again? And I looked at him, I thought, no. Who am I going to marry? He said, no, I'm just asking. And I said, no.
It's a change that they're scared of, isn't it? You know, children are always scared of change.
Yeah, I think they are. You know, I can't see myself getting married again, to be honest. Well, I've not really thought about it. Yeah. So my answer was no to that.
I know, but given obviously you'd at that moment in time, obviously you've just been divorced, you're still getting used to everything. So obviously your son asking you, are you going to get married again? At that moment in time, you may have said no, and meant it as well. And obviously you don't want to say yes to him, and suddenly he's got other ideas in his head now. That's the key. Yeah. So I think, you know, we have to be careful what we sometimes say to children, and also just to keep them on board and keep their sort of sanity, right? Hannah, we're going to talk a lot more. We've got a lot of topics to cover, and we're going to see you straight after the breaks. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum.
Do you need help with your marriage? Do you suspect infidelity in your marriage? Are you struggling to gain the truth over a matter of concern? Whatever the concern, we're here to try and help. Email us for free support today at marriagematters@britishmuslim.tv.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the second segment of Marriage Matters with me, your host, Javaid Iqbal. We're joined again today by Hana Lush. Now, Hana, here's the thing. We know, and we've obviously done some research, now you are on certain paid apps and subscription websites, let's just say of a adult or a private nature. Am I correct?
I don't think you've worded it right, but yeah.
You tell me. I'll leave it to you.
You've done your homework, definitely.
Right, okay. Now, right, absolutely. Now, I want to ask you is, there's loads of questions obviously I want to ask you, is first of all, why?
Why not?
I mean, why not isn't exactly an answer, is it? I mean, why would you do that? Why would you want to do that to yourself?
Okay, let me just explain what these applications are, first of all.
They are paid services. They're basically paid websites and paid apps. And they're of a certain, let's just say a certain nature, a certain context. And hence, we had a bit of a backlash last week. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me at all. Obviously, like I said, we're here to tell real life stories. If this is your story, we're more than happy to hear it.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I agree. It doesn't bother me either.
Right, but what I do want to know from you is why are you on these websites or these apps, and what is it ultimately that, you know, what are you gaining from it? Obviously, there's a monetary gain. I understand that. I understand that. But what is it you want from these then? What are you looking for? Validation? Are you looking for something else? Why are you on these websites?
Hana Lush doesn't need any validation from anyone. Okay, let's just get that straight. Now, these paid applications, okay, it is a service which is used by all sorts. Okay, now it's not just used by for the content you're aiming at,
which is of an adult nature.
It's used by models, actors, chefs, fitness instructors, all sorts. Now,
but I mean, with all due respect, you ain't teaching people how to do star jumps on this app, are you?
How do you know? Have you subbed?
Okay, I'm asking you, are you teaching people how to do star jumps on this app?
I don't really want to say too much what I do on the actual apps because.
But you're not teaching people gym stuff and how to do.
Finish. 2 seconds. Let me finish, please. Because that will be me giving that away. If you want to find out what I do on the apps, you would have to sub to find out. I mean, it's only $19.99.
Right,
I've
well,
got 50% off on one of them, so yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, you know, whatever it costs, we're not here to endorse or anything. But I think, you know, obviously, we've got certain answers from you. Now, my next question is how do you reconcile that with you? Like, how do you reconcile what you're doing on these apps or this website with who you are as a person? And more importantly, for the viewers and also for myself, is how do you reconcile that with being a Muslim?
Okay, now, me being a Muslim, good question. You've really got me there. Now, I know.
It's a simple question, though, Hana. It's not a difficult question. It's a very simple because you know, it is a British. We're called British Muslim TV. You're British. You're Muslim. You're on TV.
I'm a Muslim. I'm a proud Muslim. Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Not everyone's perfect. Okay.
No. We're not talking about perfection. What we're talking about.
You're not letting me finish.
No, I know, but I'm saying what I'm looking for is reconciliation.
You're not letting me finish.
Go for it.
Let me just. I know that my heart is clean, and I know what I'm doing on that app. Have I answered your question?
Right. So your heart is clean. Your heart is clean. You know what you're doing on the app. Now, okay. Let me ask you in a different way. Would you condone somebody else doing what you do on the app? A loved one.
Why not if it's bringing you extra revenue? Remember one thing, Javaid, not everyone is capable of doing what I'm doing on that app. If it's going to change your life and bring more revenue in, okay, why wouldn't you do it?
It's all about money then.
Money makes the world go round.
I know, but is it all about money?
It's not always about money. It's about happiness. It's about feeling secure.
Are you happy?
Yeah?
Oh, sorry, you mean happiness in the money or happiness in what you're doing?
You're not letting me finish, Javaid. Please, let me.
Apologies, go for it.
Give me. Okay, it's about happiness. It's about being secure. It's about not relying on anyone. You know, I started that app in August, okay? And it's really changed the way I'm living, changed my life, okay? I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry about how much I'm spending. You know, I could afford the luxuries in life. That's how I've cleared off all my debts. Yeah, all right? Like I said, that app, people have a different understanding of it. They think, oh, she's on this particular app, she's doing this. They just start assuming.
But you're not just on one app here. We're not talking about one specific app. We're talking about you're on several apps.
No, not several, Javaid. I'm on 2 apps. I don't know where you've got several from.
Well, 2 for me is several. 1 is singular, 2 is several. I'm just saying because you were talking about in the singular, like on this one app, but I'm saying that you're on more than one app.
I'm on 2 apps.
Right, so you're on 2 apps. Now, but my question to you is going back to, I mean, you're saying you reconcile the fact that you're Muslim and you're on these apps and this sort of website, 2 of them, but your heart is clean and you're not doing anything wrong. But my question to you is, it's not correct, is it? Is it halal? Would you classify that as halal?
Is you talking to me halal? You talking to me on this TV channel, is that halal? What is halal these days?
I mean, we've got a prescription of what's halal and what's not halal, haven't we? It's in there.
Like I mentioned earlier, everyone sins in different ways. No one is perfect. I know the type of character I am, and that's all that counts.
Are you not concerned about the way people? Yeah. Are you not concerned about the way people judge you? That was going to be my next question.
Of course not. Why am I going to be concerned about the way people judge me? I'm answerable for my sins. They're answerable for their sins. Why would I be concerned? If I was concerned, I wouldn't be on that app in the first place.
Do you think you're sinning? Do you think you're sinning?
Like I said, we all sin in different ways.
You're not answering the question.
You could be a sinner.
No. I'm not saying I'm not. It's a very, it's a very, very specific, very specific question.
You could be a sinner. People watching could be sinners.
I'm not saying they're not, and I'm not saying I'm not.
No one is perfect. No one is perfect.
I'm not saying anybody's perfect.
I'm true in my religion. Okay?
Let me ask you again. Do you think what you're doing, you're sinning? You personally?
Of course not. No.
You don't think okay, let me ask you another way. Is there anything wrong with what you're doing? Forget sinning, forget the religious aspect of it.
In people's eyes, in your eyes, you probably think there's something wrong with what I'm doing, but you'll only find out if you know what I'm doing. So the link's there, go ahead and find out. You don't need to necessarily go on there to know what these apps are about. Am I making sense? I'm just putting it out there. I'm asking. I've explained to you who uses the app. It's not only for that one purpose. I know, but
I don't need to go to a pub to know that it smells of beer. That's the point I'm trying to make. Am I making sense? You know, these apps are paid subscription. There is obviously content of an adult nature. Of course
there is. There is a certain percentage of that, of what you're thinking, but it's not necessarily going to be like that for everyone on that app.
Now, was it just the monetary side of it that made you go down this road? Or was it something you wanted to express yourself?
It's because I'm popular, okay? I knew if I went on them apps, I would obviously generate revenue. And when I did, I generated a huge amount of revenue. It was a life-changing amount, okay? And it's made me happy. Is there an issue with me being happy?
No, I mean, I listen.
And let me just say one thing. All throughout Ramadan, I've not even been on that app until now, okay?
Why?
I've not even used that app.
Why?
Now, I've got a lump.
Why were you not on that app during Ramadan?
I was busy, I was fasting, and I wasn't even on social media. I wasn't on any app.
Is it because you thought it was wrong? See, this was the kind of crux I'm trying to get to.
No, because I
went on it throughout the whole of Ramadan. You only went on it after Ramadan.
No. Let me finish. I wasn't on social media. I was concentrating on Ramadan. So I wasn't using any app. I would go on now and again to check, but I wasn't physically using it. But anyway, I haven't been on any app throughout Ramadan. Now, people were still subbing on that. I was generating money. What's the harm in that?
Yeah, but they're paying you.
Let me finish, Javaid, please let me finish.
No, you asked me a question. You said, what's the harm in that question mark? Hence I answered.
All right, okay. Now, you made me forget what I was going to say. Thanks.
No, you were saying that they were subbing, even though you weren't actually putting out any content on there.
Yeah.
And is there anything wrong with that?
Yeah, so it's
right. So let me answer that.
With that app, you can't take out the money. You need to wait until it reaches a certain amount, and then you take out the money. Which is fine.
So I mean, how the dynamics work.
My plans are. Let me just finish.
I know, but Hannah,
my plans are. Okay. Once I've reached my target on how much money I want to take. What I want to make, I should say.
Yeah.
I will be stopping that. I don't. Why? I no longer need to do it because I'm.
Why would you stop it? You just said it makes you happy. It makes you happy. It's completely halal. There's nothing wrong with it. Why?
Like I said, me being on social media isn't halal. Full stop. Nothing is halal. We're all sinners in different ways.
No, but
the reason I'm stopping it is the reason I'm going to stop that is because I've made enough money where I'm comfortable.
You just said it made you happy.
So, of course it's made me happy.
So
can't you?
Why would you come off something that makes you happy?
Because I've made enough money.
So it is about the money. That's what I'm saying.
I've made the money I need, okay? So I'm comfortable. And, it wasn't going to be a long-term thing. I wasn't going to carry on doing that for a long time. But now I know that I'm not doing anything wrong on the app, but I can't stop the way people think. They're going to think that regardless. Even me being on social media, doing a live or speaking or whatever, they're going to think that regardless. Oh, look, she's on live, she's doing this, look how she's dressed, blah, de, blah, de,
But
blah.
surely what
You
people...
can't change the way people are.
I know, but I'm saying what people think does matter to you, because them same people are subscribing, and they're only subscribing based on what you're putting out there. Does that make sense? So you can't say... Right, we're going to have to cut to a break. Hannah, stay there. Stay there. We are going to come back to this. We'll speak to you after the break, inshallah. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. We'll see you after the break.
Do you need help with your marriage? Do you suspect infidelity in your marriage? Are you struggling to gain the truth over a matter of concern? Whatever the concern, we're here to try and help. Email us for free support today at marriagematters@britishmuslim.tv.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the third segment of Marriage Matters with me, your host, Javaid Iqbal. We're still in conversation with Hana. Hana, you there?
Yeah, I am.
Again, thanks for joining us. So as we were discussing before the break about this, these apps that you're on, these two apps that you're on, are you saying that obviously there's no explicit content from your side, that you should be apologetic for anything?
There isn't, no.
Right. So you've got a plan. You can obviously, you said you need to obviously make, once you hit a target, let's just say, you hit a target, after that, you're going to leave.
Yeah.
That's when you're just going to back out of these apps, etc. Are you going to stay on any form of social media?
Nothing's permanent.
What do you mean
Change
by
is
that?
good. Change is good. Nothing's permanent. I'm not planning to stay on these apps for the rest of my life, am I?
What about the social media apps, the one where you just obviously interacting with other people or with friends, etc.?
With social media, I don't do lives as much. It's simply because of the actual backlash, really, with so-called others not leaving my name alone.
What? Expand on that. What do you mean by that?
You obviously know that because you've got tons of emails, didn't you?
I don't know, but I'm saying why. Okay, you explain to me or to our viewers, why are people backlashing, and what do they need to do? What do these people need to do who are basically against you and are saying X, Y, Z?
Simply, do you know what? I think it's simply jealousy. It's jealousy. I can't think of anything else apart from jealousy.
Jealousy in terms of that you're like popular, or in terms of the, when you say jealousy in what form is what I'm asking?
One of them is me sitting here on your channel.
You think somebody else wants to be sat there?
I'm not sure what they want. Only they could answer that question.
Right. And what have you done with respect to trying to get these people off your back? So these people, you know, they're obviously...
Ignore them.
Sorry?
Ignore them.
Do they get to you?
Not really, no. It's been happening for such a long time. It's been a couple of months and I just ignore it.
Is it difficult to ignore, though? I mean, given... or is there, obviously, Hana Lush just kind of says, you know what, I'm not interested. I'm not going to give them the oxygen, and you're not going to sort of, you know, come into my world. Because maybe that's what they're looking for, right?
I think sometimes the way the behaviour is of others, it's like they think they're still at school. Age teaches you a lot. And certain individuals do have a lot to learn in life than trying to put others down. Because I'm a strong believer in karma. You put others down for no reason whatsoever, give it time. In time, it will all come back to you.
But do you think people online are more emboldened by the fact that it is social media, the fact that obviously they can just click away and say what they like, and obviously it's out there. They think somehow it's anonymous because, you know, you're not the other end of a phone. You're not facing that person. You're not obviously face to face. You're not having a to and fro with that person directly. Do you think that makes them a little bit more brave in saying what they want to say?
I think a lot of things, but is it right for me to say it live on air?
You can do if you want without obviously
do you know what?
Restrictions.
Sometimes you just think, is there any point me even saying anything?
To the people trolling you?
Yeah, just carry on, mate.
Yes, that's what I'm
You
saying.
don't
It's just,
like me. You don't like me. You don't have to like me. Not everyone's going to like you in this world.
but do you
I
think?
like me. I love me. So let
Good.
it be.
Right, but I'm saying,
Yeah,
do you
you don't
think they're
need
just
to.
purposely trying to trigger you so you do engage with them, and by you engaging with them, they're actually taking some of your, I don't know, following, if you want to call it, like people obviously engaging with you, and by them, by all these
yeah.
trolls and these other people who are against you, kind of saying, oh, you know, Hana Lush X Y Z, they now they want to steal a little bit of the limelight from you.
I think others do use my name, Hana Lush, for their own agenda, which needs to stop. It needs to stop.
So when you say obviously for their own agenda, you mean obviously to drive their own, I don't know, followers, or drive their own social media profiles to greater lengths by saying we're associated somehow, whether it's positive or negative, we're associated with Hana Lush.
Yeah.
What's your message to any trolls? Nobody in specific, just any people out there who have just got negativity towards you. What would your message be, apart from carry on? What would your message be to them? And what do you think they need to do in terms of, you know, stepping back and taking a look at their life?
My message to them would be is take a chill pill, dude. No, I'm joking. That's what my son would say.
Yeah.
My message would be is stop using my name, Hana Lush. Concentrate on your own life.
And what, in terms of, like I said, I mean, if we talk about social media in a broader term, just in a much sort of broader term, what advice would you give to somebody who's basically on social media platforms, just social media platforms, looking to, let's say, you know, get a big profile out there just so people follow them and people know them and stuff? What advice would you give, having been there, and you still are there? Obviously, like I said, last week you've got over 100,000 followers across social media platforms. What advice would you give to somebody starting out who thinks, okay, you know, if I want 1 million followers, or I want 2 million followers and I want to sort of smash it? Having been there yourself, having seen the sort of pitfalls and the sort of highs and the lows, etc., what advice would you give them?
I would say to them is always try and be kind to the people who are following you, to the people who are watching you, because they're watching you for a reason. You don't know what they're going through in life. They could be going through a lot in life. They could be stressed. And them watching you and you engaging with them in a positive way is probably making them happy. Because I do get a lot of people, honestly, my Instagram messages, my inbox is rammed. I don't even get a chance to read half of them. I get a lot of people reaching out to me that want the advice, that want the help, you know, because they're not comfortable in talking to the people that are around them, which I do offer. Now, always be kind, spread positivity, cut out the negativity.
It's a good message. I mean, do you
And
just...
always, you know, another thing I need to mention is others have said that, you know, I've apologized, I want her to forgive, blah, de blah. Let me just say one thing. In order for forgiveness, you don't need to apologize. Forgiveness is within the heart. In order for me to find peace within me, I forgave you a long time ago. I forgave you for all of the wrongs you did.
But yeah, that's from your perspective, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. If someone trolls you, you're ignoring them, but you're just kind of going, you know what, I'm at peace with it. Knock yourself out, do what you want. I'm not going to engage with you. I'm not going to give you the oxygen, etc. Now, just going back a little bit to what you said earlier, where you said, obviously, you have people on social media who reach out to you for advice, etc. Do you think, what is it that they see in you, or what is it that you're projecting out there as Hana Lush, that obviously they think we can we can approach this person for advice, or we can approach this person to help us out? What do you think they see?
I think these people who have reached out to me, they see the honesty in me. I'm not fake. Whatever you see on lives, it's the real me. I don't put on a face. And I think the people that do follow me, yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say, just really quickly, but having said that, and this is not just for you personally, you'll agree with me on this one, that any person on the social media who has a massive fan following, 99% of the time, they're projecting something that is purely positive. They're not giving their whole life away. They're not giving their entirety away. So, you know, you have certain sort of influencers or certain people who have got millions of followers, 100,000 followers, but then they'll never post a video out there saying, I'm sad, or, you know, this is really bad. It'll always be, look at me, it's brilliant, my life is brilliant, I'm in Dubai, I'm in Marrakesh, I'm in wherever I am. So when you say that there is an honesty, I'm saying that, you know, is it the whole honesty? Are you telling these people when you're happy, when you're sad, or are you just giving them positivity from your end?
I'm giving positivity from my end. I try my very best to give positivity, because I'm a strong believer that if you're going to give respect to your viewers, to your followers, you're going to gain that respect back. You can't, it's
about engaging with them on a level.
It's engaging with them in a positive way. I think I am a caring person. I do get annoyed. I do raise my voice when needed.
That's just a normal human being.
Everyone does. Yeah, that's just normal. But I try my very best to help others that need the help. And to all of my followers who are watching this and who have DM'd me, I do apologise. I get so many messages, and I will get back to you. I get good messages and bad messages, but yeah, I do try my very best to get back to everyone.
Let me ask you another question then. I mean, you're Muslim Pakistani. There's a lot of Muslims, Pakistanis out there. What sets you apart? Why have you garnered such a following where others have failed? What do you put it down to? What do you put it down to?
Good question. I think it's the way I am.
Expand.
I think people want to know who I am, who I really am.
Do they, though?
And yeah, I think they do.
Yep.
They want to know who I really am, because when I started social media, no one knew I had kids. No one knew my age. No one knew a lot of things, and a lot of things came out. And I think partly that hate is what people have heard from others.
Yes, the trolling.
Yeah.
All right, Hannah, stay there. We're just going to cut to a break, and we'll be back for the last segments of Marriage Matters with Hana Lush after the break. We'll see you on the other side. Assalamu alaikum.
Do you need help with your marriage? Do you suspect infidelity in your marriage? Are you struggling to gain the truth over a matter of concern? Whatever the concern, we're here to try and help. Email us for free support today at marriagematters@britishmuslim.tv.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the final segment of Marriage Matters with me, your host, Javaid Iqbal. We're in discussion, quite intense discussions with Hana Lush. Hana, you still there?
Yeah, I am. Hi.
Thanks again, like I said, for joining us. Hana, what I wanted to ask you, which we alluded to before the break, is obviously social media is about projecting. It's about obviously putting sometimes what people might say the best version, or the version that you want people to know about yourself out there. Now, let me ask you, is there a difference between the Hana Lush that we see on social media and the Hana Lush in real life? The Hana Lush that is not on social media, the Hana Lush who's not doing the lives, who's not, posting on social media. Is there a difference between that Hana Lush and then the one that we do see on social media?
Of course there's a difference.
Right. You tell me the difference. What is the difference between what you're doing in real life, if you want to call it that, and what you're doing on social media?
I'm a hard worker. I work office hours. I've got 2 kids. I've got responsibilities. I ensure I look after my kids well. I do activities with them. There is a huge difference.
Is there ever a crossover between the social media Hana Lush and the real Hana Lush? It's almost like, the only way I can, I suppose, compare it in my head is like, let's say a superhero where they've got the, Clark Kent and Superman. So is it very similar to that, or is there a bit of a more of a mesh between Hana Lush, social media, and Hana Lush, the private person?
Recently on my lives, I have started to do lives where I'm chilling out in the garden. I'm talking more to my kids. They could hear my kids on the background. I'm cooking. I'm showing them what I'm cooking for the kids, what I'm doing. So they get to see that side. But deep down as a person, I don't think anyone would ever get to know the real me, who I really am.
Why? Would you not let them in? I mean, do you not want that part of you to be out there?
I don't think I could trust anyone to let them in and get to know who the real Hana Lush is.
Why
simply
is that?
because of my past experiences. I don't think I can.
Is that when you say, like, in terms of past experiences, you're talking about marriage or just life in general?
Marriage, life in general, experiences, past relationships, it's all sorts.
So there is always going to be that sort of barrier between the sort of real Hana Lush and what people are seeing, because obviously, like you said, and rightly so, you're going to keep that little bit of distance where you're not going to let somebody in so much that, I mean, are you scared of getting hurt? Is it a trust issue that if I allow myself too much, then sooner or later I am going to get hurt? Is it something else? You tell me.
I don't think I'm ready to. I don't think I'm ready to take that step in life. I'm not ready to open the doors to that one person. Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever be ready? And this goes back to the original question right at the beginning of the show when you said that your son turned around and said, Mummy, are you getting married again? So, looping it all the way around, we've come back to that question that, will you, A, ever get married again? And B, well, A, will you ever be ready? And B, will you ever get married again?
At this moment of time, no.
Can you see yourself getting married again? Or can you see yourself letting anybody in so close where you could have that potential of sort of having that relationship with somebody?
I can't believe I'm doing this on live. Honestly, you're seeing the real soft side of me. But
no. So you listen, you're a real person. You've got a real story to tell. And if this is it, then this is it. We're not here to sugarcoat anything, like I said to you. We're not here to sort of, just fill time.
You are seeing the other soft side of me now. But
we're beginning to see the real Hana Lush now in the background.
I can't let it happen.
But what is wrong with letting it happen?
I'm not.
Do you feel vulnerable?
No, of course not. I'm a very strong person. I know what I want in life. I'm happy in life. I'm just not ready to open the doors. I'm very reserved, and
that's the real Hana, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. That's the real Hana now, who's really reserved, not ready to open the doors. See, because you can understand from an outsider's perspective, just purely looking in, they say, well, hang on a minute, she's out there, she's got 100,000 followers, but at the same time, Hana Lush is saying, I'm quite reserved, I'm quite private, but the one who's saying that is the other Hana Lush. It's the one who's at home, the one who, like you said, people don't know. That's the Hana Lush that is saying, I'm private, I'm quite reserved, I don't want to be out there. And then you've got the social media Hana Lush then, who is out there, who's doing the live, who is, who has garnered this sort of, mass following. So there is the two Hana Lushes in conflict, if you want, with one another as to which one's going to come out first or which one is the real Hana Lush.
The real Hana Lush is a lovely person. She's bubbly. She messes around a lot. She likes to party. She likes the finer things in life. At the moment, the way I'm living with my two kids, I'm so comfortable. I'm not ready for any change in life. I'm comfortable I'm financially stable. I'm comfortable. I've got two beautiful kids, alhamdulillah. I've got my little fur babies, my cats. I've not really thought about it. I've not really thought about it. So yeah,
about getting married, moving on, like that.
No, I've not. If it happens, it happens, but not yet. But sometimes I think I'm too old. I'm too old to.
You're never too old. Yeah, I mean, nobody's ever too old. I mean,
who would want to actually marry a woman in her early 40s who has two teenage kids? Come on.
I know, but I'm saying, it's a broad sweep there. Things happen and we don't expect them to happen, but they happen. And that's one of the mysteries and the sort of great joys of life is that you don't know, if we knew everything that was going to happen, what's the point in living? You kind of know what's going to happen tomorrow and the day after. So I suppose, you can never discount anything. You can never sort of say this is never going to happen. Like they say, never say never. You just don't know. Now, I don't plan things. I'm not the type to plan things. I live for today, like there's no tomorrow. I could wake up in the morning and say to the kids, "Come, get ready. We're going to the beach." "Oh, Mum, aren't we going to go to school?" "Oh, yeah, sugar, yeah." I'm like send them
that.
to school. Don't go to the beach on a school day. Yeah. So
no, but I like make these decisions where when I decide something, we're going to go ahead and do that. A last minute thing, like say on the weekend. When we had other plans, let's get ready. We're going out to eat. Where we go, Mum? I've booked it. Come, we're going. I don't.
I think from what I'm gauging here, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you're enjoying more than anything else is the autonomy. It's the freedom of you making your own choices, how you want to make them, when you want to make them, in regards to your own personal life. I'm talking about in terms of the kids, in terms of whether you want to get married or you don't want to get married, whether, like you said, you want to go to the beach or you want to go to a restaurant. That sort of exclusivity, that autonomy that you have, is a lot of people don't have that. A lot of women your age, which you probably know yourself, they don't have either the financial freedom, they don't have the freedom full stop, or they don't have the emotional or physical freedom to make them decisions that you can make yourself. Which
is true, yeah. So definitely.
So that is.
I love my freedom. I do love my freedom. I could wake up whenever I want, do whatever I want, wear whatever I want, skip around in my garden whenever I want.
Knock yourself out.
Freedom is important to be happy. You don't want to be locked. I was brought up in a really strict family, wasn't allowed to do most things. I'm not going to be strict with my kids as long as they tell me what they're doing, where they're going. Yeah. It's fine. I need to have that trust with them. So, yeah. My son always says to me, and my daughter says it all the time, "Mum, you're an awesome mum. I love you. You're my best friend. You're my awesome mum. You're awesome mum." She just came near the stairs. I was smiling. I was laughing.
I mean, like you said earlier, when you said, Hana Lush doesn't need validation. But I think getting validation from your children is something that every parent craves. And I think it's, once you have that, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, that's all that matters. That is all that matters. Like I was asking my son earlier on, "What do you think of these?" He said, "Oh, Mum, no, don't get them. Please don't." We've got that. We're like a little team.
I know you need, and I think as a family unit, you need that. One last question before we leave. Just going back, Hana, in terms of the social media. You're obviously big on social media. You've got various things going on, social media, other apps, websites we alluded to. What, in a sort of 30 seconds, 45 seconds, what are the benefits that you would say in terms of the advantages, and what are the negatives? What are the positives? What are the negatives? Somebody who wants to emulate you.
you know what? There's positives and negatives. You can't please everyone. I get negative things sent in my inbox all the time. Just before when I went on air, there was a really negative message that came in. I only
To
saw
you?
a bit of it. Yeah. My messages sit in my archive and I just have a little glance and I saw the first wording of it and I thought, you're not even going to get acknowledged.
It's not worth it.
You know, it's not worth it. But then there are positive messages. I've made a few good friends and they've sent me messages and it's really nice to
There you go.
have that. Yeah, so
Hannah,
it's not always negative. So
thank you so much for joining us last week, and again, apologies for last week and this week. I want to thank you for coming on the show, sharing your story, and I know it wasn't easy, and it obviously has been quite emotional, and I know it took a lot. You didn't have to come on. Nobody was forcing you. You did it yourself, and I applaud you for that, and I thank you for that. People, viewers, all I'll say is, obviously, let's not be too quick to judge, and let's try to understand each other's stories. We might not agree with them, just understand them. Inshallah, I'll see you next week on another episode of Marriage Matters. Me, Javaid Iqbal, signing off. Take care of yourselves. Assalamu alaikum.
Do you need help with your marriage? Do you suspect infidelity in your marriage? Are you struggling to gain the truth over a matter of concern? Whatever the concern, we're here to try and help. Email us for free support today at marriagematters@britishmuslim.tv.